I'm going to do something slightly unhastings here and start a minute early. Okay? So call to order May 7, 2019, Hastings-on-Hudson Board of Ed meeting. Welcome, everyone. Okay, I think we've got some things in different orders here. Do we want to show? Oh, Janine?
I'm going to raise that both orders now.
Okay, yeah. Well, we were going to do the public hearing of the Code of Conduct first, so.
Okay. You can try me. I'll just take notes.
Okay. Maureen, how does that have to be done? Does that have to be done?
Well, I think you just announce that there will be one, and if anyone wants to get up and make a comment, so you would announce each of them separately, so
okay.
We're opening up.
So on the, there's an update to the Code of Conduct. Janine, I apologize, we started 1 minute early. You're on time. And so we're just doing the public hearing on the Code of Conduct. Then we're going to come back to some of the announcements and stuff.
And all, I guess the only change in the meeting was you updated the DASA coordinator.
Right. So we updated the Code of Conduct, which needs a public hearing, although I don't know that this update actually needed the public hearing. Is that correct? But we'll do it anyways this time.
Well, any changes require it, so...
So let's just play it safe then. Yeah.
We did not have a
Okay.
coordinator before.
So on the Code of Conduct, is anyone here that wants to make any comments on that? Okay. Okay. Is that essentially the extent of the public hearing, Janine? All right. Good. So next hearing is...
So
you want to vote now? Okay. Okay. So can I get a motion to vote on the public hearing Code of Conduct?
So moved.
A second? All in favor? Okay.
And I would make one request. I think with DASA, everything's supposed to be very well known and well communicated, so we may want to do an e-blast just identifying the new DASA person and the old DASA people.
Okay.
And we'll need to make sure for the organization meeting that that's clarified going forward. Okay. Okay, public hearing on the budget. Anyone here have any comments they'd like to make on the budget? The same thing here now? Do we? No. Right. Okay. We've already done that last meeting. Okay. Great. So with that, let's just turn to some announcements, and then we'll get to tenure. So, Charlie, I'll kick it over to you, and then I have some after that.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the many 48 members of the junior class who were installed last week at this time into the National Honor Society. It was a wonderful event and a great tribute to the work of the kids that, and they've earned that title of Honor Society. And also there was a induction of the Arts Honor Society. 17 students were enrolled there, and once again, much to their credit. There is an important reminder of a candidates forum that will be on May 16th at Hillside, 7 p.m. in the cafe that's there. Of course, and that would be as on the run-up to the election. The forum will also, I should mention, be videotaped and then shown on television repeatedly, also leading up to the budget vote and candidate vote on May 22nd. Also, please
21st.
note that...
May 21.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
21.
May 21.
I'm also pleased to note that the Diversity Committee will sponsor a fair festival on May 9th to June 1st. So wanted to note that. Nice that we're here at the FMS to recognize students Amanda Schultz and Beatrice Herbstman, placed first at the Tri-County Science Fair in the category of middle school psychology with their project titled, "How Does Age Affect Your Perception of Stereotypes?" In addition, Amanda and Beatrice won the Judge Edith Miller Excellence recognition, an award for the top middle school award as the top of middle school projects of the fair, because they placed in the top 10%. Amanda and B can apply to the Boardroom Masters Competition, which is the national premier science and engineering competition for middle school students. Congratulations to Amanda and B on these significant accomplishments. I should also like to say the proud administrators may take a bow, and everybody applaud for the kids if you wish. But in any case, I want you to save a date that the Hastings Education Foundation will have their party and fundraiser this Friday, May 10th, from 7 to 11 p.m. at the St. Andrews Golf Course. The school system, of course, thanks the foundation for the generosity and wonderful support of the schools here in Hastings. Finally, here's a reminder for the Board of Ed and those members of the school community who have been invited that there are two finalist candidates for the position of assistant superintendent who will be interviewed this Thursday afternoon between 4 and 6 p.m. Actually, the location is right here. And the Board of Ed, I should also mention, will then be holding a separate and even more intensive interview process the following week. Date to be determined. And I don't know if that's something that the Board can find time to determine a date that would work for you all so that we can plan accordingly later tonight.
And just one correction. The Multicultural Book Fair is from the work of the Race Matters Committee, not the Diversity Committee. So that's a completely teacher-ran committee that they started on their own and worked on the Multicultural Book Fair. It's from their hard work.
Thank
So I
you
just
very much
wanted
for
to...
that correction.
Yeah, no problem.
And also, just to clarify, and maybe I was the only one who thought it needed a clarification, the interviews on Thursday, my understanding is you're not opening that up to the public, correct?
No, that's a
No,
private
no, it's not a public
Okay.
event at all.
Just because I didn't know if that was clear.
No, as I said, there are some invited representatives of all the stakeholders in the district, and in addition to faculty and staff, and of course the Board of Ed, and then the Board of Ed will again interview the following week.
Also on Thursday, May 16th, is the graduation of the you're going to say it, the Hastings Alternative School Program?
Take it away.
No, you can go ahead. I just want to say it's an incredible, it's one of the best experiences. If you have a chance to go to the HASP graduation, it is one of the most moving and impressive things to be a part of.
Yeah, so I've got here, so 9 kids, I believe, this year will be graduating in the HASP program, and I went to my first HASP graduation last year, and I agree. It was just a tremendous experience. Seeing
8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning in this room. Okay. And do we have someone here from HEF? Who is here from HEF? Okay. And so what we're going to do tenure first, and then we're going to come and let you guys talk a little bit, okay? So with that, we are going to move over to the tenure appointments and go through those. I'll pass it back over to Charlie for that.
Well, actually, I'm going to pass it to the principals, because the principals are all here tonight, especially for the occasion, and I know they've prepared heartfelt remarks to honor each of their teachers. So I guess we'll start out with the elementary and go to the middle and high school.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am here on behalf of Kristen Amy to present her candidacy for tenure. Kristen has been an ENL teacher at Hillside Elementary School, and she has done an amazing job of really being a very integral part of our community. Kristen collaborates with everyone. She is not only in every grade level working with teachers, she's even at the middle school working with our middle school staff as well. Kristen serves as a resource for all of our teachers. She helps out at our Intervention Cafe, which we have every year, where she educates our entire staff on what E&L learning can look like, and she gives us resources to really be able to support all of our youngsters, not only our students that are learning a new language. Kristen is also, in addition to a fabulous teacher, she's a fabulous community member, and she has been a major part of our Hillside fabric for the years that I've been at Hillside and before as well. So Kristen, you may not know, but she's an athlete, and she has coached our modified girls sports teams, specifically the modified girls lacrosse and modified spring track and modified cross country and modified winter track. So just that is pretty amazing to me. And all of you PE teachers know how amazing that is to me. But in addition, she's done so many things for our building, specifically for Hillside. She's been an advisor on our student council. Kristen has spent many hours being part of our social committee. She's very social for those of you that don't know her yet. But she plans parties, plans get-togethers, plans special events so that all of our staff members can be recognized and feel the valued people that they are in our community. Kristen also has served on our building leadership team, helping us to create our core values of respect and courage and curiosity, and also looking at how can we acknowledge kids for demonstrating these core values. And Kristen was an integral member of our team last year when we came up with the idea of recognizing kids through stickers. And what was interesting in that experience was that all of the adults in the room, our teachers, our administrators, our parents, all felt that pencils were the way to go, but our student advocates said stickers were the way to go, and it was very interesting how quickly our kids changed all of our minds. So Kristen has really helped in so many different areas in our school. In addition, Kristen has worked very hard to make sure that our E&L families are represented. She's attended many of our events, from our back-to-school picnic to our E&L back-to-school night to our newcomers dinner, and all of these events to really help to welcome our E&L families to our community. She's also helped to translate some of our materials so that every family is included in our communication. So without further ado, I would like to recommend Kristen Amy for tenure for the Hastings community. I'm very proud of everything that she's done for our community, and I know that she will continue to be a wonderful asset to us here in Hastings. Thank you.
Wow, that was just beautifully said. Amy, thank you so much for those kind words. I just want to say, okay, let me take a breath. Thank you to the board and to Dr. Wilson for this wonderful opportunity to work in to be tenured in such a wonderful district. And I am filled with such gratitude. I remember when Gail brought me in after she gave me a phone call that I was hired as a part-time E&L teacher, and she said to me, Kristen, you just landed your dream job. And I can honestly say every day I come to work, I feel that gratitude, and I do believe that. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and to my wonderful administrators up at Hillside, especially, you know, John and Amy. Thank you.
Gail.
So it is my pleasure, really my pleasure, to speak on behalf of Shannon Mulholland and on behalf of Chris and myself to recommend her for 10 years. Shannon is a shining star at Farragut Middle School, but I think she's a shining star at Hillside Elementary School and at Hastings High School. I think she has interacted with every student, every teacher, every administrator in this district. She is the most well-liked individual that I have ever met. I don't think anyone I've ever come in contact has anything but glowing comments about Shannon. And tonight she's here with her mom, Lainey, and her dad, Dan, and her sister Megan with her husband Anthony, and three little beautiful nieces. Liliana, where are you? Liliana, hi. And Daniela, where are you? Hi, Daniela. And Sophie's only 3 months, so Sophie's not going to wait. But hi, Sophie. So she's supported by her family, but she has, I mean, all of Farragut Middle School is not here tonight, but if all of Farragut Middle School could be here tonight, there's no question that everybody would be standing with applause for Shannon. So it's really, it's my honor to speak on behalf of Shannon. And I'm speaking on behalf, pardon me, of Chris Keogh as well. Shannon Mulholland began working at Hastings as a substitute teacher in 2013. Feels like a longer time, though, doesn't it? It feels like you've been here forever. Since beginning her journey in Hastings, Shannon stepped into a second grade classroom as a short-term leave replacement before working in the 4th grade and then coming into the 5th grade. She then moved into a science position in 6th grade where she created curriculum and labs to support 6th graders as both a general education and a special education teacher. She is certified in both areas. Shannon streamlined curriculum for the Skill Center classes in 5th grade, in math and in language arts, 6th grade reading instruction, 6th grade language arts, and 7th grade organizational skills. In addition, she's taught reading instruction in 5th grade. The only grade we haven't gotten her into is 8th. To support the students and the school community, Shannon facilitates the mindful moments for students, has coordinated the mindfulness study groups, and has participated in mindfulness presentations for Tri-States, the Board of Education, and the PTSA. In addition, she's created professional development for teachers in mindfulness. She's also been part of the building leadership team, the Diesel Committee, the Strategic Planning Technology Committee, and has helped organize additional study groups, always taking the initiative. Outside of the classroom, she's the junior varsity boys and girls tennis coach at Hastings High School. Presently, Ms. Mulholland is pursuing her certification in administration, which she might want to reconsider. Just kidding. As an enthusiastic learner herself, Shannon continually seeks out professional development opportunities, which include work in the following areas: science and math and multicultural education and literacy and mindfulness. As part of the many professional development experiences, Shannon has also attended the Mindfulness Summit in Washington, D.C., being extremely courageous because the only other person that was going was me, and that meant that she had to spend 3 days with me in a hotel having breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days. That's a long time to be with your principal. And she actually came back to Hastings and to Farragut Middle School after that to turnkey the information that she learned. Since joining the Farragut Middle School community, Ms. Mulholland has continued to grow as a teacher, continuing to take on new initiatives and accepting challenges with great, great enthusiasm. She shares her enthusiasm for Farragut Middle School and for her students as she helps them to grow as learners and as individuals. She is highly regarded by her students, her colleagues, parents adore her, and this administration is just wild about her. We've been most fortunate to have Shannon as part of the, I'm going to start to cry, to have Shannon as part of the Farragut Middle School, and look forward to our continued work with her for many, many, many years to come. It's my pleasure to recommend to the board Shannon Mulholland for tenure.
Thank you, everyone. The board, Dr. Wilson.
Good job, Sharon.
Thank you. I could never imagine working anywhere else since I stepped foot into Hastings. It's been my dream to be here, and thank you so much to Gail and Chris and everyone in the community for everything. I'm excited for the many, many years to come, and again, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. So thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to congratulate the 3 recipients for tenure this evening, assuming the board's going to vote you in. You haven't been voted in yet, so. But I'm sure it's going to happen. I'm here for Emily Keogh, who is a physical education and health teacher. I'm going to say district-wide, because if you look in the audience, in addition to her family, the entire PE and Health Department is here to support her. I make this recommendation not just by Luetti Pietro in the high school, but with Melissa Hardesty and our Director of Physical Education and Athletics, Jesse Merchant. Emily came to us 4 years ago as a leave replacement teacher, and when the position became a probationary teacher, we kind of skipped all the rules because we knew that she is the shining star of Hastings High School. And we kind of, what was that? Shots fired. And she was immediately put on a board agenda to hire her on the probationary position. She is that special of a person. In addition to all of the volunteer work she does at the high school, she also has time to do some major CrossFit activities, so I would not mess with Emily. Well, it's with excitement and anticipation that I highly recommend Emily Kehoe to be awarded tenure by the Hastings-on-Hudson School District. Ms. Kehoe has been every bit the professional and educator we could have hoped for. She sets high standards for our health and physical education program and has been instrumental in the high school's redesigned physical education selective offerings. Ms. Kehoe has taught in both the high school and the middle school over the past 4 years. She has coached multiple sports teams, including varsity girls soccer, varsity girls basketball, varsity girls softball, junior varsity softball, junior varsity girls basketball, and varsity volleyball. As head varsity volleyball coach, her team participated in Dig for the Cure and raised over $3,500 for breast cancer research. Ms. Kehoe is actively involved in all aspects of the high school community. It often serves as a chaperone on all of our field trips and events. In addition, she is working with the athletic department and Mr. Merchant as an advisor to our athletic student council and is currently involved in bringing and organizing unified sports here in Hastings. Emily, again, is the consummate professional. Everything we need, if we need something, I go to Emily, and Emily never says no. She is a special individual. It's someone I would want to call a friend, and has worked really hard and always advocates for children. So it is with a heavy heart, but I'm going to say, you know, I hope she never leaves us, because she's that special. So Emily, congratulations.
So as Lou said, my first year here, I was a leave replacement, and I remember thinking that I couldn't get too attached because I didn't know if I was going to be here the following year. And I texted my mom in probably like October saying that I was really hoping that this would work out and I'd be able to stay. So I'm very grateful that the stars aligned and I was able to stay in Hastings. Definitely want to thank the board, thank Lou and Melissa for their guidance, and thank all my coworkers, especially Jesse, Dennis, and Bob, for not only being great coworkers but also fantastic people. So thank you.
Okay, wonderful intros, and it's just great to see such wonderful professionals that are, this is their dream job, which is great, just great to hear. That's really wonderful. So with that, we should make it official. Yeah, this is the good stuff. We should make it official. So do I have a motion to approve Shannon Mulholland, Emily Kehoe, and Kristen Amy for tenure?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Okay. So we have cake, but before we do the cake, I'd like to invite Hef up just to talk about some of the grants for this year, and then maybe we can break and do the cake and celebrate tenure, as well as some of the other great stuff going on in the district. So if Hef wants to come up for 5 minutes or so and share some of the grants, that'd be great.
So my name is Hilary Freireich. I am the co-president of the Hastings Education Foundation. Deb Terracone, the past co-president, and we wanted to, with great pride, I should say, that we want to announce the grants that have been awarded by the Hastings Education Foundation for the 2019-2020 school year. We got some really interesting and awesome requests, and we're really thrilled to say that the amount totals the most money that HEF has awarded in one cycle in a really long time. So we're really happy to be able to do that. The Hillside total grants total $23,083.39, including a grant written by Lori Mackey, Sandy Lutzker, and Megan Reyna for 4 iPads and cases for special education assessment programs, provided that the district commits to pay for the licenses and the ongoing usage. That was for $1,568. Lori McKay wrote a grant that we accepted for a sensory path, which is basically like stickers on the walls and the floors at Hillside. 2 of them so that the kids can get up and take breaks and do constructive things in between lessons and kind of get their yayas out. Erica Melvin wrote a grant for $11,610.90, which we awarded for what we're calling a cross-curricular traverse rock wall for the small gym. And basically, it's a rock wall that goes up, and the kids have to solve problems as they climb it and cross it. We're also going to provide a HEF plaque and sign to put up on that. We hope that's okay. We're providing $3,894.49 for a grant that Mary Kate McCabe wrote for a 4-person easel for each kindergarten classroom so that 4 different kids can paint at one time. It includes paint cups and brushes. A $3,010 grant that Amy Kazis wrote for materials to reimburse Katie Reedy to finish a large mural in the all-purpose room. Plus, we're going to reimburse Katie for materials for which you already laid out to pay the initial amount, which again brings the total to $3,010. And we graciously accept Amy's offer to rename the all-purpose room in honor of HEF. So thank you for that. For Farragut Middle School, the grant award totals at this point $3,900, but that's going to include an additional $10,000 to $14,000, which is undetermined at this point, but it includes one grant for $3,900 that was written by Gail Kipper and Chris Keogh together for 3 presentations for students and parents on bullying, depression, and suicide, and a second 2 grants that total $14,000 that was written. So this is the grant that has a contingency on it. It's 2 grants that were requested to fund various well-known speakers to address both teachers and students in the middle school on topics and programs surrounding race and diversity. And the foundation is fully committed to supporting this entire effort, but we approved them on the contingency basis because we felt as though we can give the money on an off-cycle request once Dr. Henning Piedmont starts, and we thought this would be a good opportunity with the new superintendent starting to ensure that that the plan is congruent with her plan as she begins, and we have a memo that kind of explains the details of this, and once she starts and they can get together, we can award the exact amount, but we're committed to doing it. And that was written, those grants were written by Janice Mateo Toledo and Gail Kipper, as well as the entire Race Matters Committee. So we were happy to see that. And then Hastings High School, we awarded $55,462.17. $55,462.17. To the high school alone. This includes a grant that was written by Lou A. DiPietro, which was totaled $13,000 for 2 conferences, a parent survey, and parent, student, and community presentations to fund the 2nd year of the Challenge Success program so that we can see that come to full fruition. And at this point, we just want to make a note that we funded the first 2 years of Challenge Success, so we're hoping that the district picks that up and HEF doesn't get counted on to do that for a 3rd year. But we're happy to do it for the years that we have. Naomi Gilbert wrote a grant that we accepted for $11,160 for display boards that are used to display the work from the art students and other displays that kind of roll around in the district, and we're going to put little stickers on those. We're funding a $4,943.40 grant that Joseph Willey wrote for 12 Lego Mindstorm robotics sets for a new robotics elective that he's starting. We funded a $4,500 $4,521.16 from April Brown for 10 sewing machines and other items that she requested for a new sewing and design elective, which we really found also super cool. And again, we're going to put stickers on those. We're funding $5,000 for a grant that Greg Stevens wrote for 60 new graphing calculators so that they're available to lend to students in classes who might need them for the year if their family can't afford to buy one, or kids who need them in school. Again, we're going to put stickers on those. We're funding $13,699.61 for a grant that Josh Blum, Ross Abrams, and Peter Scotch wrote for a mobile new media lab to create digital texts. It's a cart with computers and editing software and studio quality headphones and mics so that they can bring a media storytelling program into core English classes, which again we thought was super cool. We'll put stickers on those. We're funding $1,260 to Maria Rudolph, who wrote a grant for a Bringing Shakespeare to Life program, where she's intending on having Hudson Valley Shakespeare Company actors come to work with the kids on scenes from Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth and bring that to life. And last but not least is a grant for $1,878 that Corey Merchant wrote for a drone camera to integrate into the AP photo program. And he believed it could be useful as well for digital photo too and yearbook. And that comes with the condition that it complies with all the federal requirements. We'll leave that to you guys.
And it gets a sticker.
And it gets a sticker. Everything's getting stickered. And so the total comes to $82,450.56. $10,000 to $14,000 that we are going to provide for the race and diversity programs that you're funding, which is great. And so I've been involved in this since my son started kindergarten. He graduated last year, and this is kind of the culmination for me. It's a great, half is great to be involved with. It's just parents raising money and giving it back to anything that the teachers and administrators can dream up. So for me, it's been super fulfilling to do this outside of my day job, which is, not always the most exciting thing. And we really encourage anybody who's interested in joining HEF to please reach out, and there's a place for everybody. So that would be terrific. Oh, and the event is Friday night at St. Andrews at 7, which sounds super fancy, bless you, but it's going to be really fun, and the price has not gone up, and your ticket price includes all the drinks you want, and beer and wine and food and great things. So come hang on the deck, and it's all for a good cause. So good.
So yeah, thank you, Deb and Hillary, and all of HEF for your contributions this year and every year, and the work you do. So with that, there's a lot to celebrate. So let's have some cake. Yeah. Perfect. Please. Maureen had a good conversation with, as the board recalls, we had conversation last meeting about Ray Dovell, proposal from him, and there was a lot of positive feeling about using him as an architect. And Maureen has subsequently had some conversations with H2M, who proposed a relationship wherein they are essentially lead architect, executive architect, and Ray would be design architect. Both Ray and H2M have had a conversation about that, and both feel that there's value, it plays to their strengths, and it creates kind of a best of both worlds architecture team. And so in the next couple weeks, Maureen will be working with the two of them to prepare some contracts that would show a split in the relationship, and we'll get that on the agenda hopefully for next meeting.
Right. The one thing they did ask, if you're comfortable with this, is I can send them both a letter of intent that we would be proposing to sign the contracts. They would both be willing to start. They would both like to do some of their work, such as scheduling meetings that Ray wants to do with meeting with all the program leaders at Hillside, and it'll be helpful to him if he can start at least that scheduling, before the 2 weeks, and certainly we wouldn't obviously pay them anything, but I think the intention we have that we would be going this route.
Yeah, both. I think that's okay. It's obviously not a legally binding document.
No.
Right? But
Yeah, I think what's overall going to happen, I mean, Ray gave us a new proposal, but he'll wrap it into a contract. But ultimately, I believe it'll result in a lower overall fee, and it kind of plays to their strengths. And I think the advantage they felt, PBDW felt as though it was helpful to them with H2M's knowledge of the buildings and being able to kind of, you also help facilitate the work with the state education department. So they're going to be the lead design architects. They'll do some of the other less design work, roofing, masonry, and some of those H2M. So I think they have a good plan, and they're going to be moving forward with getting the surveys and things done in the next couple weeks. So, but we pay that directly, and we would have to do that no matter what architect we're working with. So we would start that work, but they arrange that work on our behalf.
Maureen, thank you for facilitating that conversation. And just to be clear, so that the DW, thank you.
I have it right in front of me, that's fine.
That they will do the design.
Absolutely.
And that, especially of the addition of the music suite and of the auditorium.
Yeah, as well as the high school music rooms as well. They would do all three of the kind of, the design work for all those projects.
Okay, so we look forward to that. I lost. Okay, so moving on to business items. Does anybody have any questions about any of the business items? There was one, and I've lost where it is here. There was one in there which said contract running from July 1, 2018 through June.
It was probably a health services contract.
Yeah, I was just
possibly.
curious what. I'm assuming that's something we've already signed, so
Mm.
did something change in that contract?
Well, let me just find out which one.
And now I can't find it.
Would it, it's probably, is it, well, I see one here for the health.
Achieve Beyond?
Oh, it's Achieve Beyond? Let me look at that.
Yeah, that's.
I had a question about that as well.
Let me just look at it because to be honest with you, that special ed sent to us and then we just, those kind of funnel through us and then we put it on, but I didn't really probably. I mean, if you want to table that, I can come back with a.
I'm just curious what changed, because I'm assuming that's an agreement we've already.
Yeah, we have. So why don't we just table that agreement and
Okay,
for the next time I can bring it.
Okay.
I think it's better to do that.
Which was that?
Achieve
I
Beyond.
saw it and I lost it.
Achieve.
Is it
Okay,
Achieve?
Achieve Beyond, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because typically they have a memo that,
Accompanies it?
yeah, Beth is pretty good about that, like in terms of just spelling out if there was any like slight tweak to it. So that one, there may be like a document maybe missing that didn't get scanned in possibly.
Okay, and so what number is that? That's 10.
That is
Okay.
number 10.
Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion to approve business items 1 through 9 and 11 through 18?
Oh yeah, but it doesn't have the memo attached either.
We'll look into
Yeah,
it. Let's
we'll
put it
look
on the
into it.
agenda
I'm saying
for next
what-
time.
Typically, what she usually does, so I don't know if it came separate and didn't make its way with that, yeah.
Okay, so we had so moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So that's all but item 10.
An addendum, too.
Yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, this just got added a little bit earlier today, and this goes, with the foundation grant, so
Yeah.
that was awarded for tonight. As some of you may know, that Katie Reedy has done some artwork in Hillside, and any artwork she has done up until this point, that was, for free as a contribution to the district, but now we're looking to kind of complete that artwork, and I think Hillside got word that they would approve the additional materials for that work, but there was also the question, I believe they don't pay for that type of thing directly, because I think initially they tried to see if HEF would pay for to give Katie some money, so this would,
So this is essentially her
proposal-
fees, and they're paying for
Yes,
the
and you can
materials.
see she gave the hours, and then there's like a discounted rate, so.
But this is HEF money.
No, this is actually school money, and then HEF would be paying for materials, because evidently the materials are like $3,000.
This is for the mural?
Yep.
And how much has the mural cost already? Do we know?
I think what they were mentioning, and again, I didn't I heard about this earlier, and I was like, well, if this is going hand in hand, send something that goes along with it. I think the total amount of supplies are going to be $3,000, some of which have already been spent, because I think Hillary even mentioned that there would be some type of reimbursement for like whatever materials that Katie may have been spent to do the other. I mean, I was kind of surprised by the overall amount, but I guess that paint is fairly expensive. But I don't. But I believe some of that may be reimbursing her for whatever outlay for the work like she's already done, and then the remainder of the supplies would be to complete the remainder of the walls in the all-purpose room. And I do want to say that I did mention to Amy earlier today about when she just mentioned about the renaming of the room. I was like, well, technically you can't rename rooms, so we probably would just put a plaque in the all-purpose room because the board has to approve a renaming of a room.
So we have to approve the renaming.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just also a process. So I said, I don't know if there was some confusion in like what was said. But when they said it tonight, again, I was like, I think there needs to be there's typically a process if that were to be even proposed. But certainly we'll put up the little plaque that, acknowledges.
Could the PTSA finally get its plaque for the TV studio then?
They don't have one outside, Lisa?
I don't think so.
I think so.
Oh, you think it is?
I think so.
Okay.
I honestly, I mean, in my mind, I see it, but it may be inside the door, though, but I've definitely seen something that acknowledges the purchase of that, but we'll make sure that, it's nice because I think it helps for the PTSA. There's so many things they funded, and it is helpful to them in their fundraising efforts when people see some of that work in the school.
It's critical that parents know that when I'm giving money to any, be it the Sports Booster Club, be it the Music Booster Club, be it HEF, be it the PTSA, to know where that money comes back, because that helps those organizations continue to fundraise. So it really is critical.
Yeah. So I think I would think that was the intent with the all-purpose room, maybe saying some of these things were made possible by them.
I'm sorry if I'm being a bit daft. I'm having a little trouble understanding because I didn't see the addendum until just now.
Right.
So I guess the district's contribution is $2,000?
Yes.
I'm looking at the labor cost at $75 an hour. Is that the cost of the person doing the painting? Because that seems a little high.
Yeah, I guess this is for Katie's work. I mean, I guess that's, I don't know whether that's the rate she gets as like an artist. I mean, again, I just saw this earlier too, and one thing I did clarify was that it was for only things that haven't been done, not that had already been done in the all-purpose room. So,
well, she's charging us like $25 an hour.
Yeah, 22.
Well, I think right. True labor costs, I guess, typically, and then the discounted rate would be that we would pay her $2,000. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's 90
That's
hours.
how she kind of laid it out, so I just figured I put the attachment like that to see like kind of the background. But our cost would be the $2,000, right? So it would be a third of I guess $25 an hour.
And it's beautiful. It's adds so much to the space.
And that seems like a fair price for the level
definitely.
of,
2,000 is better
The
than
amount of-
6,700.
Yeah.
The amount that we're getting for it,
I know it's a little confusing the way, because I had, when I initially saw it, I was, wanted to clarify that as well.
Okay. So I do have a motion to approve this proposal for the artwork at Hillside for $2,000 for these hours. A second? All in favor? Okay. Placement for CSE and CPSE? Do I have a motion to approve these placements? A second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, personnel, 6A. Does anybody have any questions or anything to discuss on 1 through 6?
The only thing I would do is we used to employ Dania Freiberg as a tutor for our sponsor daughter. We don't currently employ her, so I'm not sure if I should recuse myself from that, but to be safe, I'm fine to pull if we want to pull that one out separately. She was wonderful, though. I will give that recommendation.
And she's worked for the district before as well. And she's really
No, she was
very
she was
highly
great.
regarded, yeah.
And not just great in substance, great in her attitude and her kindness.
She's really helping us out because we were, like it was, she stepped right in for us.
Yeah, no,
She just finished her
wonderful.
leave at Arthur.
Yeah, exactly.
She's
I
great.
don't see why you would have to. but
Okay, like I
you-
said, I've just wanted to put
It's
it
not
out
like
there. We
she-
do
it's
not
not like she was
employ her
giving you
currently.
money, right?
No. Although she did, she filled the need, which we were very grateful for.
Okay, well, happy to do
All right,
this.
so I think it's okay to leave.
I think it's probably okay. So do I have a motion to approve appointments 1 through 6?
So moved.
A second? All in
Second.
favor?
And that's Ken Jernigan's replacement. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I was just going to say that,
Yeah,
too.
no, it's
Eric Day.
It's exciting.
Yeah, they're really excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's.
Which one is Ken Which one?
Eric Day. Eric Day,
I
yeah.
mean, he has to know the size of the shoes that he's
Yeah.
stepping into.
Charlie told them.
Yeah, good. I'm excited.
I don't know if he's here tonight at the concert.
That's great.
You know, I think he had another, because we did invite him, and that's why I just wanted, he couldn't make it tonight, and he recently just had like a newborn baby, but I think he had other.
Jazz picnic?
Oh, no, Eric, he'll be around, yeah, soon. I think he had a couple commitments at his.
I was
also
thinking
his
the jazz
current
picnic would be a good thing for him.
That's a good idea, too.
Although then
Yeah.
he'd be totally intimidated.
He wanted to start, yeah.
So was he involved in Hairspray?
No.
Or no?
He'd seen it, he came over to see.
Yeah, he saw
He
it.
heard about it.
Okay.
And he loved it.
Because I
He said
see
that was one of the
he's at
things that-
KIP. right?
Yeah, he came from KIP. That's how he kind of, I think,
That's how he got-
found out about
Some of his
Hastings,
kids
yeah.
were
And-
from
and-
who came here.
Yeah.
He said, bring me here, take me away.
Oh, I know, exactly.
That's great.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Boy,
That's
that's
great.
going to be a
Wow.
huge change in experience for him in a wonderful way.
Great, okay. We just voted on that, right? Or no, we not? No, we did. So leaves of absence, 6B. Does anybody have any questions on these two?
I just had one question about the form. I saw one of the forms wasn't completely signed on the bottom, like it had gone through payroll, business office, ASAP Vision, but didn't go through personnel with a date. So I didn't know if that was still okay for us to vote on.
Oh, I'm sorry, are we looking at the
The sig-
oh, there's one that doesn't have the initials on the personnel one? Is
Right.
that what you're looking at? I mean, yeah, that may have just been oversight, but
Okay.
it would be, I think also, it would be fine. Also, and it's very straightforward because it's like a
Okay.
1 year, yeah. I was like hoping I signed it, but. Sure.
Okay, well, if something's wrong there, we'll...
No, I mean, that one is we can go back and make sure that we get Lynn's signature on it as well.
So we
but-
can vote on it
Yes, you can,
pending,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
So, do I have a motion to approve these leaves of absence? And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and some amendments here. Anybody have any questions about these amendments?
I'm sorry, where are you? Oh,
Amendments.
I have a paper version. It might have changed.
Amendments.
Yeah, no, that's
Amendments,
fine.
there it is, yeah. So this is an unpaid leave of absence?
This person is extending their current leave, and then the person who's filling in for that person is going to also, so one person's staying out the rest of the year, the other person's going to continue with that appointment for the remainder of this year.
Do I have a motion to approve 6C amendments?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Okay, and resignation. I realized we could have done these all together, but I didn't think there was keep being more letters.
That's the danger of the paper.
Yeah, I know.
Paper agenda.
Resignation. Motion to approve the resignation, 6D.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, now, approval of minutes. Does anybody have any questions or amendments to the minutes? For the April 23rd meeting? Okay. Do you have a motion to approve the minutes from April 23rd? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. So now we're on to, I believe it's the policy committee, right, report? So,
The minutes from the policy committee meeting on April 25th are attached to the agenda for tonight. There was a new installment from NISBA on recommended and required changes to our policy, and there were 3 items that were included in that, so those will be reviewed by the committee for updating. One is on the admission of non-resident students to include language that relates to students who may be homeless and unable to verify status of address. One is, of particular note, is a new policy that's required for voter registration of high school students. So it's a policy that New York State is requiring for all school districts to have a mechanism whereby 16-year-olds would have pre-registration materials automatically provided to them so that they can become registered voters at the time when they turn 18. So I've communicated to the high school principal to begin conversation about how it would work best in Hastings, whether it would be through a mailing, whether it would be through activity directed by the student government. But once we get some recommendations from the high school principal, that's where we'll use that information to guide our writing of our policy in Hastings. But I think that's an exciting advent to school policy to provide more avenues for our young people to become registered voters. And the last is some recommended updating to the child abuse policy that's required by the state. So we're going to review those in committee and make sure that our language complies with those that they are asking us to fulfill.
If I may add to what Lauren said, when I was at the Honor Society induction last week, I mentioned this, and people were ecstatic. Kids were very excited about it because their class would be affected by this coming year.
And possibly for on discussion for the next policy meeting is what I had emailed all of you about regarding Scarsdale's Board of Education, that they use an online system to talk about changes in policy and elicit feedback from the community. And I thought it was an interesting thing. So that might be something we'll be talking about at policy committee next.
And one question for you, Lauren. Has Valerie seen the draft district organization chart?
No, she hasn't. It's been with Dr. Wilson. If he shared it with her, then she has, but the committee hasn't shared it with her.
Yeah, Valerie wants to be part of that, and I think it makes every
That would be good.
Yeah.
So it's just, she's been so busy. But
Okay.
there.
Yep. Very good.
Yeah, we can actually wait till she gets here to do it.
Yeah, no, I would just say, it's just having your radar.
We could have it ready
thumbs up
to
and-
work with her on.
It's in draft.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Great, thank you for that really detailed update. All right, second public comment. Sylvia, do you have any comments? Okay. Board of Ed comments.
I do, just pursuant to Charlie's explanation to me about the process involved in reviewing personnel files. So I understand that I need to make the request at a public meeting. So I'm requesting for myself and for any other interested board member to review the personnel files of the 3 building principals as well as the director of special education for the purpose of aiding in the fulfillment of our legal responsibilities in making employee personnel decisions.
For the purpose of what, Lisa?
Making employee personnel decisions. So my understanding is that the review would happen at an executive session, so probably the next executive session.
Yeah, we'll have to schedule that. Okay. Okay, other Board of Ed comments? Okay.
No, thanks. We're just lucky to have the teachers that we have. That was my Board of Ed comment. I felt really excited, and I feel we are a special place, but we're really, really lucky to have the dedicated employees that we have.
And just as a shout out to Emily Kehoe, she and I graduated together. We went through all of our undergrad studies together, and I'm so happy that she's a part of our district. So she's a really great person.
Great. So I think people have some things to do, so we won't keep moving forward here anymore.
Is anybody,
know what this is like.
Is anybody able to march in the Memorial Day Parade?
Oh, if I'm here, I would happily go. I can't.
I won't be in town.
Incredibly
Is
fun to
anyone
do.
else?
Lauren, it's really fun to do with kids. Think about it.
I'll march with you.
I'm not going to be here.
I can't
All right, I
either.
don't want to march alone, okay?
You can't march alone. This one's a, you
All right,
bring
I
the
can get
banner.
like those heads of everybody and carry them with me.
So do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Meeting adjourned.